doing is continuing the Fysetc Venture XL build. We left off where we did all of the pulley idlers and the gantry stuff. Now we are going to be moving to 2.3.5, the X-axis assembly. So one thing I had already done was I had already put the light bar in here and soldered the wire on here. Okay. What I did, because it doesn't mention how long this has to be, the light bar when you put it in, is it looked really close to the rail, the size of the rail, so I just put it really close to that size. So I hope it's right. It's a little bit smaller than the actual rail, just based on where you can actually cut on the lines here. And yeah, I soldered it. I did put a little bit of lithium grease in here from what I've seen in a couple other videos. I put a lithium grease and then pulled it through this way, so then the wire end was on the back side. And it did take a little bit using a screwdriver like this and just kind of pushing down and kind of feeding this as I was pushing it in the back end here. So just a little bit of tedious work, but I wanted to do this off stream, the soldering, because I would have to set the camera up over there and all that jazz. So I just took care of it and brought it over here. So we have this completely done. So we will go ahead and continue forward. Now, one thing is this piece here, okay, is in the middle when it comes to sizing. There's a really short one. Then the one for the X-axis on the gantry is a little bit longer than that. And if you see, there's two that are a little bit bigger. Okay, so this one here is going to go in between these two. These are the left and right side of the gantry. This is the X-axis, the middle of the gantry, and then this is the back that connects these two with the motors. Okay, so, and it says that in the manual very well. I wish they would have put an exact size of the LED rather than trying to search for it and figure out how long to make it, where it had to be. The other thing that I will be talking about when it comes to these, and I know Modbot Army, he had mentioned it, it doesn't say how far away it is, okay? So what I did was, in the future steps, it has you go and put these little blocks on the rails under the gantry, and that's what actually floats on those rails and locks the gantry to the rails. What I did was I had measured 10 millimeters because that whole block is 20 millimeters wide. So I measured 10 millimeters, I marked it with the calipers, then I went and I measured the distance between the two. Okay. So that distance should be on the back equal to these two holes in the center, because that's what's going to be locking on to the center of that. Okay, and then there's also a spring that goes in there. So those centers should be 33 5/8, the distance wise. Okay. If that's not right, I'll find out soon. But that was the only thing I can think of without pulling the CAD drawings. I don't want to just program, even though it's free, to look at them, waste all the space on the computer, go through all the unnecessary hassle when I can just do this, when it tells me the same thing on center of where they need to be. So that's where we're at with that. I will go ahead and get going. We're going to start 2.3.5 X-axis assembly. So it tells you to do the LED and then to put the rail on. And the difference between the 12 and the 9, you'll see the 12 is much thicker than the 9, okay? Much thicker. You'll notice a difference immediately. Now the LED you want on underneath on the bottom. And then this is going to go on the side. Okay. And these things are well lubricated. Very well lubricated. You can almost see it. You might be able to see it on the camera. I mean, it's a little bit of oil on there. You can definitely see it. So, let's see. We got M3x8 socket heads. M3x8 socket heads. And we got M3 peanuts. And we're going to be doing what we did before and going every other one just as the manual describes and recommends. So we will start at the end on this side. I am kind of surprised that this big heavy duty thing they used M3 T-nuts and not M5, but I believe this one you actually might do every, oh no, it has you doing every other one. Okay. Get our wrench here. And the M3s are 2.5 millimeter. So we'll move this down over here. And 2 more. And these go end to end when you do every other one. They do go end to end. So now we will go ahead and it shows do the light bar first. The wiring location is right there, and then go ahead and put this on. So we will go ahead and plug this in. And again, this does not say how far it has to be from each side. So it doesn't say that it's in the middle or anything like that. It kind of just throws it at you and says, yeah, it's right here. So it does reference that you put these on and then you can put that on. No, you lock this down. Yeah, you lock this down and then you put the ends on, because it's got a little arrow that goes down, down. So let's see if we can get this in the center. That's the only real reference point that I have, is putting it in the center. And I also have these little printable things that keep it in the center. So we'll put these on. And I'm gonna measure from the end. right, that is center. So now we can lock this down. And with these, it says go from the center out. So I'm gonna lock this one. Okay, so now I'm gonna really tighten this one. Okay. This one. Now this one. Okay. Now this one. And again, like I said before, I'm just going back and forth, picking the next one in line that needs to be tightened. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to do a sanity check. Just make sure that I did tighten all of them. Okay, so I'm going to tie that one that way. Okay, so those are all tight, so we'll take our jigs off here. So now we have the LED strip and the rail mounted. Now it wants us to put these two side pieces on. Okay. And it looks like in the picture that you push it until it bottoms out up against the little shim in there. The tube that the screw goes through. Or there might be a little bit of a gap. It's hard to tell in that illustration. What I could do is I could go and measure the distance between those and see what the distance is on these plates. What I'm going to do is I'm going to snug them up, and then I'll do that after I get both of them at least on. So we'll just snug that up. Oh, actually, okay, so actually I gotta move this to the other side because the wiring location is going to be over here. So if the wiring location is over there, only one on the bottom. Oh, I gotta flip this around. Yep, I gotta flip this around. So this, yep, because then this needs to be over here. Yep. Yep. So close, but no cigar. Okay. So now we have this here. Now it'll be on the right side, not the wrong side. There we go. Alright, round 2. Let's see if we can get it right this time. Put these back on. Now we'll remeasure it. At least now I know what I have to measure it to. Yep, right on. Now we'll go ahead and snug one of these. And this one. And this one. Okay. So this one. This one. Okay. Okay, there we go. Now we're good. So we got the LED strip. It's going to be mounted on the left side, just as it shows in the picture. Then we have the rail on and centered. Now we can put stuff on. And again, I'm just going to be snugging these up because I'm not sure if it's going to have to move or change. So I'll just snug these up for now. But actually right now I'm putting the T-nuts just flush up against the side. So let's see how that, because it looks kind of like the picture when I do this. So we'll see. Again, these are just lightly snug. So there is the X Gantry. Now let's see what it wants us to do after we do all that. So after we do that, then we go into the Y-axis assembly. Oh, okay, so it has you build it upside down and then you flip it over. Okay. So I'm going to put this off to the side because we're going to need a bunch of room. And this, the short one now, is the middle back one. Okay, so this short one is that middle one right there. That one right over here, this one, that's the short one. So we're gonna put the motors on first and then have that bump out, and then we'll put the ones coming back this way. And it tells us so the A the one that has this little piece here, that is A, the A drive. That needs to go on the right side. When you're looking at the printer, that needs to go on the right side. Plastic in that. Lost it again. There you go. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. One of these too tight. Of course, one that keeps falling off is the units there. So these I'm just going to snug up right where the T-nut is square, and then I'm going to get my measurement based off of what I had taken before, which is 33 5/8 to the center of this hole, which I'll show you here in a second. Once I get both of these on. Okay. That one's fine. And please don't die, Mr. iPad. I'd very much appreciate it if you don't. Okay, so now we'll put this one like this. So now the measurement that I had from over there was 33 5/8 from the center of that middle hole there to the center of the other middle hole. And that's where that spring and that screw go. So I'm going to see how this looks compared to what my measurements were. And actually this block is square, so I can get a really exact measurement here. So it's 20, so I'm going to make it 10 again, same as the other one. perfect spot that I can reference. Okay, that's let's see. So it looks like I have to bring this out probably to the end of where it's looking like where the channel on the piece, so there's a little routed channel on the CNC. That's where I'm going to try and bring that to. That's where it looks like it needs to come out to, because it's off quite a bit. So since I'm doing that, I'm actually going to flip these T-nuts, because right now I have them like flipped that way with the ball that way out. I'm going to flip them the other way so they go back this way, because they're going out of the channel, and then we'll see how that looks. It's going to be a little bit harder to get these in like that, but I think it's going to pay off in the long run. Much better. Now it is flush. Show you what I'm talking about. So now you can see this part is milled right here. And now I put the extrusion even with that. So let's see if that's the right, gives us the right distance. The T-nut. Okay, so lost it again. Oh, different one. So let's see what we got measurement wise now. Still a little bit shy of that by like an eighth of an inch. You know what? I'm gonna leave it like that. Maybe there's something that I don't know that happens with that. But this seems to be like right where this needs to be. So we'll see what happens. Especially because I wish the doc said, you know, Fysetc, if you're listening, please put that in the documentation. Now we have this. Then we're going to put these two on. So I'm going to spin this around. I'll go ahead and move some of this stuff out of the way. One's gonna go there. And one will go right here. Kind of difficult to do. I'm gonna set this one down. I want this. Okay, there it goes. gonna tighten in these, just snugging them. Okay, there's one. Now, let's see if we can do this one. Okay, so that is lightly spun. And see, I think we put the other two rails on. I'm gonna get the other two rails out of the box, and I'm pretty sure that's where it's going with it. Yep. So after we put those on, turn it over so the motors are facing down, because these motors are going to end up facing up when we put it on the unit. So there's that. And we are going to install these rails. M3/8 socket head cap screw, M3/8 socket head cap screw, and M3 nut. Okay. So let's cut these rails. You know what? We're gonna hydrate. That's very important. We're gonna get some iced tea. So we'll grab this. Again, it's back to the little guy. And if anybody knows what this little black piece is for, this little black plastic piece, leave it down in the comments. Curious, because every single bag had one, and I'm gonna hang on to them because I don't know what they are, just in case they're important down the road. But let me know what these are. The only guess I could have is it's to take off this piece. To take off this piece. You roll it onto this piece to like temporary hold it or something, maybe? I don't know. That's what it looks like. And using M3 nuts and bolts on this one. Socket head cap screws. There's a little burr in this T-nut. There we go. I'm gonna try a nut in this T-nut because I want to make sure it works before I get all these in, and I gotta take it apart. It looks kind of sus here. Okay, it works. Okay, so here's one. And I'm gonna put this one on right now. I'll put this side on. Then I'll put the other one on. Okay, so that one I just slid on. I'm gonna leave it there and I'll get the other one prepped and then I'll slide that on. There is definitely plenty of oil on this stuff. I don't know if you can see it on my hands. Definitely plenty of oil on this. couple more here, and then we'll be able to throw this on. And what I did when I put the rail on, I left the open one that started on this side towards the motor, and the very last one at the end is open because of the every other. So it'll be on that side towards the tensioner pulley. Okay. Move this to the middle. Now, what I'll do is try and shift this. And if you leave plenty of room for these T-nuts, they slide right in. So that one, those two are on. And again, motor's down because when we put this in the unit, the motors are going to be up. And then these are going to be underneath. Okay? So, have our centering jigs. Put those on. And then we'll start tightening from the inside out. Do it like this so you can kind of see what's going on here. And I'm going to double check. I believe these go all the way to the end. I just want to double check and make sure, because then the remainder down here, that's for the tensioner pulleys that goes on to. And it's almost exact to what it is. So actually that is how that goes on. So let's see. Yeah, it doesn't tell you on here, but it just shows in the fully assembled picture, it does look like it's pushed all the way up. We'll tighten that one. This one. This one. Okay. I think after we put this together, I think we'll do another video to where I go ahead and I install it onto the unit. So after I get the 2 tensioner pulleys on, I do have some stuff I need to take care of today. So that's why we'll just turn it into another video. I know that there's going to be a lot of videos, but the nice thing is I'll make sure that I'm kind of descriptive on what's in it. So if you're looking for a particular part that you're struggling with, that I can show you what it looks like and how I put it together and perceived the manual, then that'll be another just little helpful point for you. Rather than try and comb through a 2-hour video of what you're looking for. Okay, now the sanity check. Okay. Alright, that one is good. So, I'll flip this around and we'll do the other one. 2 more and then we'll be all set. Okay, 2 more. Oh, and I gotta take the whole thing off again. This T-nut's no good. Okay. Well, the whole thing's gotta come back off. So that was this T-nut here. Of course, it's when you have 2 screws left and it's the second to last screw. That's how it works. Right, take all these off. This guy. All right, hopefully this one's good. Okay. Put our gauges back on. All right, so hopefully we can get these tightened up now. No more hiccups. Again, after I put these screws in, I'm gonna throw the tensioner idlers on that go on the ends here. And then I'm going to wrap it up for the day. I don't know, I might be able to call it occupational hazard when you start getting blisters from turning these wrenches. So, now we'll go ahead and put these on. So let's see what the wiki says about that. So these actually go inside. So this goes like this. Yeah, this goes like this, and then this sits on over here. Okay, let's turn this. Yeah, I'll have time tomorrow to go ahead and set this up and put the gantry on, so then it'll be much better time-wise. So, we got this, the screw is down. Like this. I got scared. When you put these on, one is going to be on the bottom and then one is going to be on the top. So that's how that's going to be on there. I don't even know if it could go the other way, but it sure looks like it could because of where the thing is. But yeah, one goes down and one goes up from the design of it. So like this one here This one here is like this, so then this is up and the bearing is down. And that's supposed to be the right side, and then when you go to the left, the bearing is down. So, okay. One thing that's kind of weird though is why does it show oh, okay, yep, this one, the tensioner is on the top. That's what I was looking for. So this side, when you're looking at it, the screw, the 30 millimeter tensioner screw is going to be on the bottom, on the left side. And then on the right side, it's going to be on the top. What's up, buddy? So this one doesn't go all the way on, it's really close. But let's see. Let's see about this one. Alright guys, well that is gantry assembly. So in the next video we will set this up in the actual unit. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. Bye bye.